All right. In theme with our film is we're going to be reviewing the 6888 tonight, which stars and is executive produced.
Yes, sir.
By one Fredi Washington.
Yes, it is.
And as we have been talking as of late about the other famous Washington family, that of the Denzels of Washington's,
yes.
With Gladiator 2 and late in last year, you were talking about the piano lesson, which you were watching and enjoyed,
right? And with John David
Washington. Mm-hmm. So thinking about that, I wondered, are there other Washingtons out there?
It's a big plantation
that are not getting their just due. Okay. So I have come up with a top 5 Wada Wada Washingtons.
Okay.
Other Washingtons.
Okay.
Who I feel deserve their just due.
Okay.
And this is in order.
Okay.
All right. Starting at number 5 and all the way up to number 1.
All right.
Okay.
Some
of these are going to be Washingtons that you know. And some of these are going to be Washingtons that you're going to be like, huh?
Okay.
But
I'll call them Who Washington.
You'll call them Washington Who.
Right. Okay.
All right. So starting at number 5.
Okay.
We have Malave or Mal Washington, who is a former professional tennis player, born in June 20th, 1969. He actually reached the men's single final at Wimbledon in 1996, winning 4 ATP titles and achieved a career singles ranking of world number 11 in October of 1992. He turned professional in 1989. In 1990, while ranked number 103, he actually defeated the number 2 tennis player in the world, who was at that time Ivan Lendl. One of the Hall of Famers.
Sure.
His biggest success at a Grand Slam event came in 1996, where he was a runner-up at the Wimbledon Championships. On his way to the final, he defeated 9th-seeded Thomas Enquist in the second round and came back from a 1-5 deficit in the 5th set of the semifinal to beat Todd Martin, finally winning 10-8. Before the tournament had started, his odds of winning were 300-1. He eventually lost in the final to Richard Krajicek. But he gained revenge against Krajicek in the Grand Slam Cup in October of later that year. Now, you're probably asking, well, he sounds like a pretty prominent Washington.
Yeah.
A fairly prominent Washington.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Now, you are not going to be able to see this, Vincent.
Okay.
But and if you're listening to the audio, you're not going to be able to see this, but that's why you should be watching this when we stream live.
It's true.
Or watch the video on YouTube when it's
true.
On our YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit the bell. You'll know when it's up there.
Tell your friends.
The missionaries can be watching right now because, Dylan, we do have the picture of him up. The reason why I selected Mal Washington
is because
he's your twin. I looked at him and I said, is this Vincent? He looks almost exactly like you, Vincent.
Quite a loaded.
He stands like you.
Statement.
Something like, you know how sometimes, when you get mad at me and you have that look on your face, that's what he looked like. That's the face that he's wearing in that picture.
Not mad. I'm just disappointed.
Okay. Well, Mal Washington was disappointed. He was disappointed in me.
Disappointed in you too. All right. Okay.
But now I'm giving him his just due.
Well, he's a good looking guy, so got that going for him.
Yes. There he is. There he is, Vincent. You see him?
Doesn't look like me at all.
He looks.
If you were white, I'd quit the show right now because it's just racist. Because you're just being racist. Doesn't look like me at all.
Looks like your face.
Not at all.
It looks like your face.
Doesn't look like me at all. Just a black guy. If you were white, I'd be flipping shit over in here. Like one of those screens would come up with the guy dancing across the screen and it'd say technical difficulties. You need to thank Black Jesus that we're all black. Who's number 4?
Quick programming note. Dylan, we cannot go off camera for the rest of the show.
It's like the dude standing in front of the camera and all the film is all jumbled up and it says technical difficulties. be back shortly.
Number 4.
Number 4.
The Who Washingtons. LaDamian Washington.
Okay. He's African American, probably.
Going out on a limb.
It's a name like Ebony Obsidian.
Going out on a limb there.
Barack Obama.
That LaDamian
Right.
Washington. Black guy.
Right.
Who is a black guy?
Right.
LaDamian Washington, American football coach.
Okay.
And former wide receiver.
All right. Glad that worked out for him because wasn't nobody going to answer him when he put in his resume in places.
Well, you tell me if this necessarily worked out for him.
Okay.
So LaDamian Washington was signed as an undrafted free agent by the Dallas Cowboys after the 2014 NFL draft.
Sure.
He suffered a right shoulder injury in June that forced him to miss most of their training camp.
Mm-hmm.
But he returned in time for the start of training camp. However, there were injuries on the defensive line that forced the team to waive him on August 2nd. Okay?
Sure.
He was then claimed off of wires by the San Francisco 49ers on August 3rd. However, he was cut by the team on August 30th.
Okay.
Then he was signed to the New York Giants practice squad on September 16th of 2014.
Okay.
And he was released on September 24th.
Okay.
He then signed to the Cleveland Browns practice squad on October 21st of 2014.
Okay.
He was waived on November 25th. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed him to a futures contract on January 8th of 2015. Then on May 21st, he was placed on the injured reserve list and was waived 5 days later. He then signed with the Kansas City Chiefs on August 3rd of 2015. He was released on August 30th. On September 1st of 2016.
Oh my God. Can we please just get to it?
He was signed by the Edmonton Eskimos
Sure.
of the Canadian Football League. That was September 1st of 2016. However, he was released from the squad on September 13th.
Are we only in 2016? How long is this going to go?
Wait a minute. I say all this to set up that he kept getting, on the team and then immediately cut.
So is he still doing this?
No, he was no longer a pro football player at all. But
He's like a chemistry professor.
no, what I
at
appreciate
the University of Montana.
no, what I appreciate now is he is a motivational speaker
Okay.
of you
Just
keep
you stick to it.
You keep going.
Stick to it.
Just keep going. Just keep trying.
Stick to it. Okay.
And then, you know what? I got to applaud him for that.
Absolutely. 100%.
Because he was getting kicked left and right.
We fall down, but we get up.
And he is the personification of that. LaDamian Washington.
A saint is just a sinner who fell down, but then got back up. It's a whole song about it.
So should we name him Saint LaDamian?
Well, we don't want to name him Saint because I think you have to die for that to happen. So we can just call him LaDamian.
All right, fair enough. So LaDamian Washington.
LaDamian Washington.
Here are your flowers.
All right. Excellent.
All right. Next, number 3.
Number 3.
This is a Washington that you know, Vincent,
Okay.
and has been mentioned on the Michelle Mission
Okay.
time or two. Fredi Washington.
Fredi Washington.
Or Frederica Carolyn Washington. American stage and film actress, civil rights activist,
Yes, she
performer,
was.
and writer. She was of African-American descent. She was one of the first Black Americans to gain recognition for film and stage work in the 1920s and 30s. She was active in the Harlem Renaissance. Her best-known film role was as Piola in the original Imitation of Life from 1934.
That's right.
She played a young, light-skinned black woman who decides to pass as white. Her last film role was in 1 Mile from Heaven from 1937. After that, she left Hollywood and returned to New York to work in theater and civil rights activism. She told reporters in 1949 that she identified as black because I'm honest, firstly, and secondly, you don't have to be white to be good. I spent most of my life trying to prove to those who think otherwise. I am a Negro, and I am proud of that. In 1970, Imitation of Life was nominated for Academy Award for Best Picture, but however, it did not win. Years later, in 2007, Time magazine ranked it among the 25 most important films on race. In regards to Fredi Washington, in 1975, she was inducted into the Black Filmmakers Hall of Fame. In 1979, she received the Circa Award for Lifetime Achievement in the Performing Arts. And in 1981, she received an award from the Audience Development Company, Odelco, a New York-based nonprofit group devoted to preserving and promoting African American theater. And Fredi Washington is definitely a name who will return to the mission.
Yeah, we love Fredi Washington.
We are fans of Fredi Washington.
Yeah.
And she deserves
100%
her flowers. So there you go. All right. Number two. A Washington that deserves flowers. And I'm going to read the resume, and then I'm going to let Vincent fill in a rest, because I have a funny feeling, doing this in real time, that you may have some thoughts about this.
Okay.
Number two, born in 1924, passed away tragically early in 1963. Born Ruth Lee Jones, but more popularly known by her stage name of Dinah Washington.
Yeah.
American singer and pianist, one of the most popular black female recording artists of the 1950s. Primarily a jazz vocalist, she performed and recorded in a wide variety of styles, including blues, R&B, and traditional pop music, and gave herself the title of Queen of the Blues. She was also known as Queen of the Jukeboxes. She was a 1986 inductee of the Alabama Jazz Hall of Fame and was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1993. According to Richard Janelle at AllMusic, Dinah Washington was at once one of the most beloved and controversial singers of the mid-20th century. Beloved to her fans, devotees, and fellow singers, controversial to critics who still accuse her of selling out her art to commerce and bad taste. Her principal sin, apparently, was to cultivate a distinctive vocal style that was at home in all kinds of music, be it R&B, blues, jazz, middle-of-the-road pop, and she probably would have made a fine gospel or country singer had she had the time. Hers was a gritty, salty, high-pitched voice marked by absolute clarity of diction and clipped bluesy phrasing. Vincent, what you got to add about Dinah Washington?
I don't have a lot to add to what you said. I love Dinah Washington, and in that cohort of the great black female voices of jazz, you think Sarah Vaughan, you think Ella Fitzgerald. I'll throw Shirley Horn in there as a bit of a dark horse. Nancy Wilson, of course. Yeah. And I actually feel like Dinah Washington and Nancy Wilson are kind of, because there is that, I know we use this euphemism, it's like they sung the blues. But in my mind, just a lot of their personality comes through. I think so many of the black vocalists from this period in the 50s and 60s, you almost had to, I don't want to use a word like neuter, but you had to have this kind of almost neutrality to your voice.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's what they're saying about Dinah Washington.
But with Nancy Wilson and Dinah Washington, I felt like a lot of that, their actual personality would come through, as opposed to, Like, I think Ella Fitzgerald's personality would come through, but I think she was just so amazingly talented that the line between personality and talent kind of blurred.
Okay.
I know I'm not really making it. That's not necessarily clear what I'm saying, but Dinah Washington, you knew it was her, and it's like you knew her.
Okay.
Ella Fitzgerald was infinitely talented and blessed, but I didn't necessarily get the sense that I knew her like I do when I hear Nancy Wilson and Dinah Washington.
You feeling like you feeling like they're in infusing their music with more of who they are.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
I feel you.
Right.
I feel you on that.
Right.
I feel
completely subjective. Completely off the top. I could probably be more articulative.
No, I actually because I became a fan of Dinah Washington and Nancy Wilson because they were favorites of my mother.
Okay.
And she would play them in the house. And listening to them and knowing that they were so, like her favorites, I got the sense that like, oh, I think I got to read on who these women are.
Right.
And then when I would see interviews or I've seen interviews or read about them, it seems like I was on the mark with that, you know. Also, I could see a little bit of the style that they had. My mom kind of like emulated a lot of that, and I could see that as well. So that was actually, it actually is. Yeah. Sometimes when I think about my mom, I return to Dinah Washington and Nancy Wilson songs. Another note about Dinah Washington, that there were actually 3 recordings of Dinah Washington that were actually inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Which is a special Grammy Award established in 1973 to honor recordings that are at least 25 years old and have qualitative or historical significance. The 3 of them are from 1959. What a difference.
What a difference a day makes?
What a difference a day makes.
24 little hours.
1954's Teach Me Tonight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And 1959's Unforgettable.
Okay.
And the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame listed her TV is the Thing this year, which is a song that came out in 1953. It's one of the songs that shaped rock and roll.
I am not familiar with that song. I have to go listen to it.
Also, I'm not familiar with, you're probably familiar with this album from 1964, Unforgettable, a tribute to Dinah Washington that was recorded by Aretha Franklin.
Yes.
Okay, I was not familiar with it.
Yeah, that's part of that weird period where they didn't know what to do with Aretha Franklin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like that was that weird period and like before she got on Atlantic. Okay. And like locked in.
Okay. So it's like, well, maybe you can do Dinah Washington type stuff.
Right.
And, okay.
There was actually a wonderful compilation that came out. Oh my God, we're so old. Like 20 years ago. And it was called like, it's called like the Queen, like the Queen in jazz or the early Queen but it's all Aretha Franklin doing jazz. And it's a fascinating kind of, because, it's Aretha Franklin.
Yeah.
So it sounds amazing, but it's like jazz.
Which is not what you equate with.
Right. And it's like,
so I got to check that out too. All right. Now we'll move on to number 1.
Number 1, Washington.
Number 1, Washington. And this is a Washington that I think that unfortunately, as time moves on, like unfortunately some of these other names, history is slowly forgetting. But like Fredi Washington, like Dinah Washington, this Washington at number 1 deserves to stay like planted as a name that you remember. And this is jazz and Philadelphia legend.
Oh, okay.
Grover Washington.
Great Grover Washington Jr. Absolutely. 100%.
jazz, funk, soul, jazz saxophonist,
Mm-hmm.
and Grammy Award winner.
Mm-hmm.
Along with Wes Montgomery and George Benson, he is considered by many to be one of the founders and legends of the smooth jazz genre.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote some of his material and later became an arranger and producer throughout the 70s and 80s. Grover Washington made some of the genre's most memorable hits, including Mr. Magic,
Yep.
Reed Seed, Black Frost,
And
Wine Light,
get to it. Get to
Inner
it.
City Blues,
Uh-huh. And
The Best Is Yet to Come,
yeah.
Let It Flow for Dr. J. In addition, he performed very frequently with other artists, including Bill Withers on Just the Two of Us,
Mm-hmm.
Patti LaBelle on The Best Is Yet to Come,
Mm-hmm.
and Phyllis Hyman on A Sacred Kind of Love.
Mm-hmm.
A string of acclaimed records brought Washington prominence in the 70s, culminating in his signature piece for everything he would do from then on. Wine Light from 1980 was the album that defined everything Washington was then about. The album was smooth, fused with R&B, and easy listening feel. His love of basketball, especially the Sixers, led him to dedicate Let It Flow to Julius Dr. J. Irving. Washington is credited for giving rise to a new batch of talent that would make its mark in the late 80s and 90s. He is known for bringing Kenny G to the forefront, as well as artists such as Kurt Wallum, Walter Beasley, Steve Cole, Pamela Williams, Najee, Boney James, and George Howard. His song Mr. Magic is noted as being influential on go-go music starting in the mid-70s.
And it's the Philliest song of all time.
It is definitely. Vincent, what do you got to say about Grover Washington Jr.?
Of course I love Grover Washington Jr. I was actually I wouldn't even call him smooth jazz.
No,
Like I
but
feel like I see how it comes from him, but yeah, he's more like
he was jazz.
He was soul jazz.
Well, they say jazz, funk, soul, jazz.
You know one of my things, like I hate when they say Just the Two of Us is a Bill Withers song.
Because it's definitely Bill Withers and Grover Washington.
It's actually a Grover Washington featuring Bill Withers song.
Oh, that's right. I forgot that. It's on his album.
On Grover Washington's
it's on Grover Washington's album. That's right.
That's one of my little things. It's not a Bill Withers song. It's a Grover Washington Jr. song featuring Bill Withers.
All right.
No, I do have friends, for real. People do like me.
No one here. So that's the top 5.
5 Washingtons.
5 Washingtons for you.
For you.
Keep them in your memory banks.
All right.
And now it is time for the Game of Kings.
Game of Kings.
6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin. 6 Degrees of D'Urville Martin, Vincent, where I give you 2 actors and you have 6 films or less to connect them to D'Urville Martin. Another name you should not forget.
You should not.
Time for should not forget. All right. We are reviewing tonight the 6888,
Yes, we are.
which is written and directed by Tyler Perry.
Yes.
And one of the questions that is on the table in our review is, has Tyler Perry stepped his game up?
Yes.
Has he taken a turn?
Okay.
Is this the best of Tyler Perry?
Okay.
And I think I will go out on a limb and say that should that prove to be the case, we will be pleasantly surprised.
Yes.
Even to go further than that, we will marvel at the opportunity in front of Tyler Perry to step up his game.
Okay.
So with that ram-fisted note, these 2 actors
Okay.
that you have to connect to D'Urville Martin,
All right.
you cannot use any Marvel movies.
Okay.
All right? So, without any Marvel movies,
Okay.
connect D'Urville Martin in 6 movies or less
2.
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Okay. Just got to get Doctor Strange out of my head. Okay, boom. So D'Urville Martin.
Mm-hmm.
D'Urville Martin is in Oh, here's what I'll do. I'm gonna be a little cute. I hope I have enough to get to it. So D'Urville Martin is in No, I'm going to be too cute trying to get to it, so I'll just get to it. D'Urville Martin, 5 on the black hand side. Dick Anthony Williams. Dick Anthony Williams is in Mo Better Blues with Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Denzel Washington is in Denzel Washington is in Inside Man with Chiwetel Ejiofor. Chiwetel Ejiofor is in Z for Zachariah with Chris Pine. Chris Pine is in Star Trek Into Darkness with Benedict Cumberbatch. Benedict Cumberbatch, where he plays Khan.
Yes.
Even though remember they spent like 2 years telling us
saying
he
he's
wasn't
not
going to be Khan. It's like, clearly he's Khan. Oh, he's not Khan. I mean, he's definitely Khan. I was really irritated because quietly I wanted him to play Harry Mudd.
I remember you saying that.
Right, but there you go. And no Marvel movie.
No Marvel movie. Very good, Vincent.
All right.
Well done. And George Cremona was in the chat screaming, "You Star Trek, you Star Trek.
You Star Trek, yeah.
So there you did.
All right. This is an interesting. So who else is in Marvel and I can't use Marvel?
In 6 movies or less, connect D'Urville Martin to Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, Scarlett Johansson. Okay.
No Marvel movies.
No Marvel movie. You know what? I will go same initial path to Mo Better Blues. But in Mo Better Blues, I'm going to go to John Turturro.
Okay.
John Turturro is in The Big Lebowski.
He is.
With Steve Buscemi.
He is.
Steve Buscemi is in Ghost World, which I believe is Scarlett Johansson's first film.
Ghost World is not Scarlett Johansson's first film.
But she's in Ghost World.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Very good, Vincent.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well done. Was Ghost World, was that the one you chose to go to, or was that the only one you could go to?
No. I could have got to her. And I thought about her because we were just talking about her last week, remember? Think about her, the Joaquin Phoenix.
I thought it was Joaquin.
Whatever. Joaquin Phoenix, besides
you could have gotten
my big thing with him is he's in like 300?
No,
he's
Gladiator.
I'm right. He's in. So I could have went to Gladiator.
Yeah, which is where I thought you were going to go.
Right.
So I thought you were going to go Denzel Washington to American Gangster with Russell Crowe,
and then Russell Crowe to
Gladiator to Joaquin to Phoenix.
Her. You know what? I couldn't remember whether or not he was in 300 or Glad. I just saw him in one of them frocks. Like I'd forgotten what movie he was in one of them frocks.
Yeah. See, the way to remember that is that in 300, they don't wear frocks.
They don't wear frocks.
In 300, they just wear capes.
Well, I knew
they don't just they're walking around with no shirts on.
I knew he was one of the right, like a royalty guy.
He's the king.
He's the king. I believe that's the movie where he has one of my favorite lines where he's like, I will not be vexed.
Yeah, I ain't vexed.
You vex me and I will not be vexed. Which is such a great line.
You know, I love Gladiator, but he is my favorite part of Gladiator.
Yeah.
He's just having so much fun.
Yeah.
He vexed me.
And I shall not be vexed.
Enos.
Like, he's playing the character as somebody who's had syphilis for like 5 years and is eating his brain up. Like, he's actually playing a crazy person.
I believe it.
All right.
Well, there you go. That is the Game of Kings.
All right. I like that, though. That was a good theme.
Okay.
Yeah, it made me move a little bit.
Well, we have to keep that theme going.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it was getting too easy.
Yeah.
I mean, Marvel's they got like all of Hollywood in there.
And now Denzel's about to be Black Panther.
Jesus.
I saw that and I just nodded my head.
Everyone. Everyone. I mean, I was going to say, who's next? Anthony Hopkins. He was already in a Marvel movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Who's left? The only one left who has not been in a Marvel movie is Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Like, Tom Cruise has not been in any superhero movie.
He is not.
I think he may be the last man standing. I mean, not everybody's been in a Marvel movie, even though most of them have.
Jamie Foxx hasn't. I'm thinking of the big marquee people.
Okay. Jamie Foxx hasn't.
Julia Roberts.
Okay, but it's all right.
I mean, she hasn't.
But true. But is she still marquee now? Well, I guess throughout her career,
I mean, like the old time.
Okay, all right. No, she didn't.
Yeah.
Sly Stallone. I see. Damon Sly Stallone was in Guardians.
I was going to say he was in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. All right. Oh, it's time for our review.
Oh yeah, it's time for our review
of the 688.